Awesome. Okay. We're live. We're going to start with Dan and then go to Connor. Any other questions before we get started? Okay, awesome. So I'm going to mute myself, and then Dan, just don't forget to introduce yourself before you go, and you'll do great. All right, whenever you're ready.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Dan Hurst. My topic today is just to give you a brief overview of the dangers of distracted driving. The speech is going to be pretty short and sweet here. Its main purpose is simply to inform you about the dangers that are caused by distracted driving. By the end of this, I hope that you all just have a better understanding of what the dangers that you all face with the distracted drivers on the road. So every day in America, 8 people are killed and 1,100 are hospitalized as a result of a distracted driver incidents. This is a huge problem for all of us because we are all on the roads. Whether you drive, take public transportation, just walk on the sidewalk, distracted drivers are a huge concern to all of us. Whether you're the person committing the offense or not, you can be a potential victim. I mentioned in my past speeches, I am a critical care nurse, I'm a flight medic, emergency nurse, and a surgical nurse. I could honestly not tell you the last time that I went an entire shift without taking care of someone who was a victim of a distracted driver incident. It's incredibly prevalent, and it happens every single day. Like I said, 1,100 people in the hospital every day, and 8 of them die. So distracted drivers are a real danger for all of us. The amount of damage that they cause is far more than just monetary. The human loss that is a result of distracted drivers is also immense, and it's just a danger that we need to be aware of because it's a new problem to our society. This didn't exist 10 years ago because we didn't have cell phones and 4G capabilities like we do now. So just want to give you a few main points throughout this. First off, distracted drivers are now the #1 cause of accidents in our country. For the last 40 years, it's been excessive speed, followed by intoxicated drivers. Within the last 5 years, according to the NTSB, the National Transportation and Safety Board, distracted drivers have eclipsed the amount of accidents that those other 2 categories cause. The amount of damage that they cause is just almost unbelievable, which brings me to my second point. The monetary damage that distracted drivers cause is almost $200 billion a year. I have my actual statistics here. $46 billion is in property damage every single year. That's pretty easy to qualify because it's the amount of damage done to cars, personal property, how much it costs to replace the playground equipment that the guy ran over. That data is fairly easy to qualify. The more difficult data is the human loss, and this includes things like how much time is lost from work, how much funeral expenses are, medical bills, long-term disability. That number is $129 billion every single year as a result of distracted driving incidents. So almost $200 billion is caused every single year by people just not putting their phones down. So that brings me kind of to my final point. Distracted drivers alone are a major problem in our society, but if we combine that with other at-risk drivers, the result is just absolutely catastrophic. So distracted drivers are #1, excessive speed are #2, intoxicated drivers are #3. The #8 cause of injury accidents right now is simply inexperienced drivers under the age of 23 years old. That age group is also far more likely to engage in distracted driving, mainly because my generation and the older generation, we didn't have the option to be on our cell phones while we were driving. That wasn't an option for us. So this younger generation is in the habit from an early age to be on their cell phone or their digital device and use it 24/7. So they're also far more likely to do it while they're driving. So when you combine those different categories, that younger generation is also more likely to engage in at-risk behavior, drinking and driving, using drugs and driving way too fast. When you combine that current 23 years and under is currently responsible for 23% of the accidents in the country. And that statistic alone is bad, but if you actually break that data down, 20% of the accidents that they cause result in a fatality, either in their own vehicle, to themselves, or to someone who they hit. So that at-risk group is causing an immense amount of damage, and 23% is insane for that 6-year group of people who are driving. I mean, that's almost unbelievable to me. So like I said, this speech is pretty short. Those are the stats that I have for you. So in conclusion, the younger generation is probably the most at risk for engaging in at-risk behavior, as well as engaging in distracted driving. This is a new problem for that generation. We've never seen this before, and we don't fully understand the problem because it's new. It's only been, like I said, within the last 10 years that 4G developed. We all have a 4G cell phone. I have one in my pocket right now. Before that, it was never a problem because you didn't have the option, to get on your cell phone and check Facebook while you were driving. So just the temptation alone has led to more people engaging in that at-risk behavior. So like I said, distracted drivers are a huge problem that we don't fully understand. And like any problem that you don't understand, the first solution is to start getting a better understanding of it. So my point today was just to inform some of you guys, or all of you guys, on some of the risks that we all face, so that hopefully in the future we can choose to make better decisions. Thank you.
Great job, Dan. Thanks for starting us off. What was his time, Rachel?
5 minutes and 11 seconds.
Perfect. Great. And I didn't mention this yet, but I'm taking notes as you're speaking, so if I'm looking down or not at you, that's why. Just an FYI. Okay, excellent job, Dan. And I believe Connor's next, and Rachel's also timing for Connor. Okay. And you all set, Connor?
I am all set.
Okay, great.
All right, so I'm Connor Attrell, and my speech is going to be on anxiety disorders and the long-term effects of antidepressants. So if any of you are listening to this, odds are you are human, and odds are you are familiar with the uncomfortable feeling in your stomach or your chest before giving a speech or an interview. Some of you may experience these feelings more often than not. I know all of us have experienced anxiety to some extent in our lives, and some of you may have decided or will decide to utilize antidepressants to stave off the symptoms that come with having anxiety, especially if it interferes with your everyday life. I myself am an anxiety sufferer, and I've been for most of my life. I've been on 5 different antidepressants, and I've done extensive research in the past because of my anxiety. The internet has become my best friend, but also my worst enemy. So I ultimately feel that I'm credible to speak on the subject. My curiosity has inevitably led me to research the long-term effects of these drugs. And from my research, I have found that there are a multitude of long-term effects that antidepressants can have on a person, both physically and mentally. So today I'll provide you with some general information regarding anxiety disorders, an overview of antidepressants, and the effects that antidepressants can have on a person over time. So first I'll give you a look at the broad scope of anxiety disorders. So like I said, everyone experiences anxiety to some extent in their lives. The human body attempts to maintain homeostasis at all times. Anything that throws that equilibrium off is a stressor. And that comes from the Journal of American Osteopathic Association in March 2004. You may experience it before a speech, before a test, and you may experience it for no reason at all. And part of my goal through this speech is to illustrate the difference between when anxiety is normal and when it's considered a disorder. And underneath the term anxiety, there are several different types of disorders you may have heard of. There's post-traumatic stress disorder, generalized anxiety disorder, social anxiety disorder, panic disorder, and obsessive-compulsive disorder. And all of them have their own unique symptoms, and from my experience, you have the ability to create your own symptoms. But kind of a common theme is like stomach ache, headache, fatigue, racing heart, chest pain, muscle tension, etc. And these all come from the National Institute of Mental Health in March 2016. So now we'll look at the science of antidepressants. So anxiety occurs because of a lack of serotonin in the brain. And antidepressants, or specifically selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors, they provide a boost of serotonin to reduce anxiety by affecting the naturally occurring chemical messengers known as neurotransmitters, which serve as communicators between brain cells. And these SSRIs block the reabsorption of the particular neurotransmitter serotonin. By changing the balance of serotonin, it's shown to help brain cells send and receive messages, thus boosting your mood and reducing anxiety. And that's from Mayo Clinic in 2013. And it's important to mention there are different types of antidepressants. There's a wide array. You may have heard of some. Some common SSRIs you might have heard of are Lexapro, Zoloft, Prozac. There's Xanax and Valium, which are known as benzos. All of these differ in their chemical structure, but they serve a similar purpose. So now we'll look at the long-term effects of taking these drugs and how they differ from the short-term effects. So antidepressants can have a variety of effects on the body. Normally, when you begin an antidepressant, you experience side effects as your body introduces itself to the new drug and gets used to it. And depending on the person, the side effects can be mild to severe and last for weeks to no time at all. The side effects can include symptoms you usually experience with anxiety itself, such as headache, nausea, pain, etc. What I thought was interesting, because my research was kind of centralized around this, thinking long-term, there isn't actually much evidence yet that drugs can have a significant impact on the body over time. An article in the Harvard Health publication in 2009 said that SSRIs may actually lose their effectiveness over time, and that's about it. This makes sense because anxiety is not a curable condition, really. It's, in the end, it's something you just have to deal with and you should accept. However, taking those steps to reduce it, kind of cope with it, or it's a way to improve a way of life. So that's good. Research by PLOS Medicine in 2006 suggests that long-term drug treatment with antidepressants or any other drugs has not been shown to lead to long-term elevation of mood. Ultimately, there is no sufficient research or evidence that antidepressants have an impact on the body over time. So as you've learned today, the world of anxiety is a lot more complex than a person may initially think. Today, I provided you with a general overview of anxiety disorders, the world of antidepressants, and how they fight anxiety, and I've given you information regarding the long-term effects of these drugs. And as we've seen, there's a multitude of effects antidepressants can have on a person. Anxiety is a real and relevant issue people deal with in today's society. Especially on a college campus, it's common to experience anxiety. And I hope that today's presentation was able to inform you on what is happening when you experience anxiety and how using antidepressants can affect you and your body. Thank you.
Bless you. Excellent job.
Thank you.
Okay. What was Connor's time, Rachel?
4 minutes and 30 seconds.
Awesome. Okay, so now we will move to Hailey and then Rachel. And so Marla, you'll time for Hailey and Rachel. Okay, Hailey, whenever you are ready.
Okay. Hi, my name is Hailey Matheny. My speech I'm doing on is about dogs. The only creatures that are evolved enough to love are dogs and infants, and this quote is by Johnny Depp. Many people believe that dogs have the ability to love unconditionally. Some say that dogs don't have as long life expectancy as humans because they just don't understand love like dogs do. According to Dan Daniels, a book, A History of a Man's Best Friend, dogs are valued for their love and loyalty and have been a major part in the human life for many years. With helping out on the farm to herding sheep to just being a man's best friend, dogs have a true place in my heart. When I finally moved into my own place, I was able to adopt my very first dog. Having a life depend on you, taking care of it and feeding it and walking it, along with the feeling of being praised, is one of the best feelings that I've ever felt. Today I will discuss 4 different types of dog breeds, different purposes for families or just single people owning pets, and lastly, how dogs visualize the world around them. First, I will discuss the 4 different types of dog breeds. According to Psychology Today, there are about 339 different dog breeds that are recognized in the world. Out of those 339 dog breeds, they're characterized into about 10 different dog groups. And these dog groups are decided like how big your dog is or what functions a dog and the purposes that people use these dogs for. The first group that I found that was interesting were like sheepdogs. These dogs roughly are about like 50 pounds. They're about like a medium-sized dog. These dogs are used for like herding sheep like on the farm. They're very like, other animals love them and they're just like really helpful animals. The second dog breed that I found was interesting were like pinschers, and I personally own a mini pinscher. And I read online that pinschers, like, you're not supposed to take them like off the leash, and they're loyal dogs, but they're like also watchdogs. So if they see someone that like if you need protection, like they'll go after someone. And if they get like really like sketched out, like if they see a squirrel or something, that they'll take off after it. My third dog breed that I found that was interesting were golden retrievers. These dogs are like family dogs. You see them a lot on like TV shows. They're like medium-sized dogs. And the last one that I found were toy dogs. These dogs, like, people carry them around. They're like smaller lap dogs, and They're usually good with children. Now I will discuss the reasons that people own pets. According to the Harris Post, more than ever, pets are like members of the family. That people treat them as like little children, and they take them everywhere. Families have been known to purchase dogs for protection or just for companionship around the house. Dogs have been known to improve people's moods and better their health. According to the Help Guide article, dog users are more or less likely to suffer from depression than families that don't have dogs. Dog owners have also been known to have a more thought-out and planned day. I personally wake up every morning around the same time and take my dog out, and some family owners often feed their dogs at scheduled times, and they just plan their day around their dogs. Dogs have also been known to help reduce anxiety. Dogs have been known to live a carefree life, only thinking in present terms. Most dogs, they can't think in the future, or they really don't have a long lifespan past. They can't remember long-term memories. Lastly, I will be talking about how dogs visualize the world. What I found was very interesting was that I didn't know that dogs only felt love and fear. They don't really feel feeling of guilt, or they don't remember much. Many people don't know that dogs see the world as humans do. Sometimes dogs feel the same emotions. According to the Huffman Post, dogs experience the world a lot like humans, more closely to how children experience life. Dogs have been known to have the same brain structures as humans have. Some people don't know that dogs can experience guilt. According to the Huffman Post, dogs are equivalent to young children about the age of 2 and can only experience love and fear. So when your dog has an accident or chews up your shoes, the dog's not really feeling guilty for the actions that he caused or she caused. She's more feeling scared that you're going to punish her, if you've punished her in the past. During this speech, I talked about different dog breeds and some different reasons families own dogs, and lastly, how dogs see the world. These loving creatures have had a huge impact on my life greatly. Having something to love and depend on you, in my eyes, is one of the best feelings in the world.
Thank you, Hailey. What was her time, Marla? I think you might still be on mute.
Sorry, I said it. 5 minutes, 10 seconds.
Sorry, what was that?
5 minutes, 10 seconds.
Awesome, great. Well, we are halfway done. Okay, we'll go ahead and get going with Rachel, and Marla will keep time for Rachel. So whenever you're ready, Rachel, just go ahead and introduce yourself, and you can get started. And you're still on mute as well, so just an FYI.
Oh, wait 1 second. Okay, ready? My name is Rachel Long. I'm going to talk about wine in Italy. Okay. Like William Sorkin said, what is the best definition of a good wine? It should start and end with a smile. Wine is a drink that you can drink at any time of the day. It goes good with dinner. It's good with a girls' night. It's good after a breakup. It's good about any time and anywhere. So where do we get most of our wine from? We get a lot, especially the good stuff, from Italy. According to Italian wine history, Italy has been making wine for over 2,800 years. When I personally think of wine, my mind goes to Italy. I picture 2 people sitting on a little black patio tables and sipping some red wine. What do you see? Well, I'm going to paint a picture in your head. Italy is one of the greatest teachers when it comes to wine. from the production, the name of the wine, and the distribution to America. Before I start painting a picture in your head, you first have to ask yourself, how does Italy do it? How does Italy produce their oh-so-famous wine? A lot goes into the production of wine. According to the website Italian Wine, Italy has now become one of the top 2 leading wine producers in the world, the other one being France. Italy also has more than 2,400 different styles, which is why Italy offers such a diverse amount of wines in the world. The 5 most important steps that every wine producer has to do to make their wine great is harvesting, crushing and pressing, fermentation, clarification, and the last step is aging and bottling. Harvesting is making sure they pick the grapes at the right time because it's very critical. Picking too early or picking them too late could affect the taste of wine dramatically. Crushing and pressing is like how you see in the older movies when the people are walking around and stepping on the grapes, but they actually have machines for that nowadays. The machines crush the grapes and create must, which is freshly pressed grape juice that contains skin, seeds, and solids. Now, fermentation. The point of this is to convert all the sugar into alcohol, which lasts 10 days to a month to 2 years or even longer than that. The 4th step is clarification. This is basically when all the bad things like the dead yeast cells are removed. Then all the wine is transferred into wooden or steel barrels. The last step is aging and bottling. They can either bottle the wine right then and there, or they can let it age and bottle it later, which is actually makes the taste better. Now, picture a woman and man sitting outside on a nice sunny day, and they order wine. The server comes and delivers the wine. What is the name on the bottle? How does Italy come up with the names of this particular bottle? According to Understand an Italian Wine, Italy usually names their wines based on towns and areas where their grapes were grown. Like, for instance, Alsace, which is a vineyard region in northeastern France. Avon, which is a major city of Côtes-du-Rhône region in France. Beaune, which is the capital of Burgundy. They take a lot of pride in where they produce the wine, their main ingredient that goes into their wine, which is amazing. Now, instead of painting a picture in your head of an Italian couple drinking wine in Italy, picture yourself in America drinking wine. A company called Linvimina Wines is a huge distributor in Italy. It is a 3rd-generation family-operated vineyards of several wine-producing regions in Italy. They deliver wine by the case, the pallet, and the truckload, and distribute them to restaurants, especially wine stores and liquor stores in New York and New Jersey region. This company is one of the biggest distributors Italy has, but they also have a ton more in different areas. Italy is one of the biggest wine distributors in the world, especially here in America. Places that we eat regularly, like Olive Garden, have wines imported from Italy. Now, the picture in your head is completed. Like I said, Italy is one of the greatest producers of wine in the world, with such a diverse collection. They have mastered the art of making wine because they've been perfecting this technique for centuries now, from the red to the white wines. Also, people in Italy take pride in letting everyone know they created it. They want the whole world to know how much wine means to them. They are great teachers when it comes to wine, from the production, the naming of wine, and to the distribution to America. Wine has always had a special place in my heart, and Italy has too. So what's the greatest combination ever? Wine and Italy. Ciao. And yeah, I'm done.
All right, great job. Okay, and what was her time, Marla?
Got 4 minutes, 44 seconds.
Great. Okay, so we have Marla and Gerald left, and Rachel, are you okay timing the last 2? Awesome. Okay, whenever you're ready, Marla.
Hi, my name's Marla Freitag. My speech is going to be on stroke awareness. So imagine just all of a sudden you're unable to speak, or maybe you're speaking just gibberish but the right words aren't coming out. Or maybe you can talk fine, but half of your body is just paralyzed and not working, your arm, your leg on one side. So a stroke is the 5th leading cause of death in the United States, and that means one person dies every 4 minutes. Many people do not know the signs and symptoms of a stroke or ways to prevent this medical emergency. I'm an ER nurse. I work at a hospital that's also a stroke center, so we get a lot of patients that come in that have had a stroke. So many stroke patients that we see, they delay calling 911, and I think that's just because the public's uninformed about knowing the signs and symptoms as well as how serious having a stroke is. So delaying the treatment equals poor outcomes and a poor chance of recovery, if not death. So, like I said, a stroke is the 5th leading cause of death in the United States. It can devastate a person's life and their family as well. So what is a stroke? A stroke is when your blood supply becomes blocked by either a blood clot or that blood vessel burst. And when you have a blockage or the blood vessel burst, the oxygen and nutrients can't get to the brain, and then the cells die and you have brain damage or death. So 800,000 people have a stroke each year, and according to the American Stroke Association, that's 1 person every 40 seconds. So by the time my speech is over, that means 7 people have had a stroke in that amount of time. Without getting a person to the hospital in time, can lead to severe brain damage or death. So knowing the signs and symptoms of a stroke will help. And I printed off this visual aid that I'm not sure if I can hold it up there good enough or not. But they're trying to get awareness out to the public of knowing the mnemonic FAST and ACT FAST. So what is FAST? F is for face, and what you're going to do is ask the person to smile. And does half of their smile is normal, and is the other half of the face drooping? A stands for the arms. Is one arm weak or numb? And you're going to have the person hold their arms out straight in front of them and then see if one arm drifts down. S is for their speech. Is their speech slurred? And ask the person to repeat like a simple sentence. And if they cannot do that, then that's another good key thing to look for. T stands for time. If the person shows any of these signs and symptoms, you need to call 911 immediately. So while knowing FAST can help save a life, there are also ways to prevent a stroke as well. So the American Stroke Association reports that 80% of strokes are preventable. And the ways that we can work to prevent a stroke are choosing a healthy lifestyle. And this includes eating a healthy diet, exercising, no smoking, and limiting your alcohol use. So knowing how to live and maintain a healthy lifestyle, it may help you prevent a stroke. So as a nurse, I see the devastating effects a stroke can have on a patient, leading to irreversible brain damage or death. Knowing the signs and symptoms will help. Hopefully it helps people call 911 faster, as well as knowing how to prevent a stroke by living that healthy lifestyle. So in conclusion, increasing our knowledge on what a stroke is, and understanding that you can either have that blood clot or that blood vessel burst, and that delays the oxygen and the nutrients get into the brain, which causes brain cell death. So understanding that, understanding the FAST, the face, the arms, the speech, and the time of what to look for, and as well as the ways to prevent it. So all these things, knowing them, they'll help you to get getting a patient to the hospital quicker leads to a better outcome for that patient. And oftentimes, as a nurse, I see where people have waited too long to get a person help that they needed. So in conclusion, just knowing what a stroke is, knowing the signs and symptoms, as well as ways that we can prevent a stroke for our own life. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Marla. What was Marla's time?
5 minutes and 15 seconds.
Perfect. We were all doing a great job at staying within that time limit. Okay, so Gerald is our last one, and Rachel will keep time for you, Gerald. So whenever you're ready.
Okay. Hi guys, my name is Gerald Dogu, and my topic would be digital tools, more harm than good in writing. So my purpose of talking about this is to educate people about the pros and cons of digital tools with an emphasis in writing. I personally believe a balanced diet of digital tools has the potential to curb the issue of limiting the dependence of writers on digital tools. So with the introduction of digital tools such as YouTube, online journals, citation magazines, Spark Notes, autocorrect, social networking, to mention a few, students in writing seemingly glide through writing assignments and projects. But is this true? The influence of these tools may pose a bigger issue to the world of writers in general. So being a college student, I have become accustomed to the use of digital tools through my years in college. And personally, I believe it is embedded in my paper writing experience, and at this point, it is nearly inevitable in writing classes today. So I would like to go into talking about the pros and cons. Matt Ritchell, in his article Growing Up Digital, he starts with an argument by noting that in present days, and with the easier accessibility of these instruments to the students, most students are lured by the easier option and would opt for the use of these digital tools rather than the traditional ways, which are like books and books from credible authors, and more going to the libraries and hard copies and things of a sort. So another positive, I think, are the introduction of these tools have eased and enhanced the writing process for students over time. So the digital age came with the introduction of these digital tools, and these tools have directly or indirectly affected the way students write and the way we view writing in general. So the negative impacts and significance of digital tools in writing are essentially limitless. And some of the cons can be from the halls of the classrooms to the lecture halls, in professional writing settings, and by promoting the idea of quantity over quality, these tools have created a false sense of progress in the practice of writing. These tools also exhibit their various avenues of supposed ease in writing, in turn limiting students' productivity and imagination. And the introduction of digital tools has also seemingly disposed the use of an instructor or a teacher in writing classes and in classroom settings today. With the introduction of instruments like Spark Notes that summarize, analyze, and pretty much answer all the questions that students may have about a particular book or an article that they're meant to analyze, this just limits the impact a student can give in writing a paper. So I would like to say again that a balanced diet of digital tools has the potential to curb the dependence of students on writing papers, the dependence of these digital tools in writing papers. And with a closing, I would like to take a closing as a quote from Talbot. He says, "The computer gives us the opportunity to assert ourselves against it, and that's a gift. But only when we as writers see these tools as our enemy can we pull away from them." And I believe that in conclusion, digital tools are the unrecognized elements that may be the bane of the future of writing. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Gerald. What was his time?
4 minutes and 22 seconds.
Awesome. Okay. So don't forget, hopefully most of you have posted your outline already. If you have not, go ahead and do that right after this call. Do all of you know where to do that? Okay. Under the informative speech, all associated items folder, you'll see where it says final draft of outline. And so go ahead and upload that in there. I will send out the link to this video right after this. As a heads up, I'm going to, for some of you, it's possible I might change your partner. You are assigned a partner to do the critique of the outline draft, and then you're also going to do a critique due June 12th of the video. There was a couple people who either dropped the class, or I did also have a couple people who just never signed up for a speech. So depending on whether or not that happens, I might switch up some of your partners. So I'll send an email about that probably later today, so just as a heads up. But if your partner signed up for their time, then you'll probably just keep the same partner that you had. So I think that's all I have. Do you have any questions while I have you on the line?
I do.
Okay. Do you feel good that your speech is done? Yeah, good. Well, you all did a great job. Thank you so much for your hard work. And let me know if you have any questions.
So I have a question. We critique our partner, and then do we critique ourselves as well?
You do. So there's the recast assignment, which is the critique of yourself. And then there is a peer critique of the video of the speech, which you'll do of your partner.
Okay.
And those are due 2 different dates. I want to say the self-critique might be the 10th, but you'll want to double check the schedule on that. But the peer critique, I believe, is June 12th. I think that is Sunday.
Okay.
And everyone will be done with their speeches by Wednesday. Then you have a few days to get that done. So, and you also, I mean, another thing to keep on the radar, this is unrelated to the informative speeches, is also that outside speech critique. So just something to kind of keep on the radar. There's a bit going on this week, so a lot to keep straight. So let me know if you have any other questions about those. Okay. Any other questions, thoughts? Okay. Well, have a great rest of your day, and thank you so much for your work today.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye, everyone.
Bye.